Welcome to another episode of Piecing It Together, the podcast where we take a look at a new movie and try to figure out what movies might have inspired it. But today on the show, it is not that. Today on the show, it is our most anticipated movies of 2025, and we do this every year over on the LA Podfidential podcast with host Chauncey Telese. And so this is a repost of an episode I just recorded with him for his show, and I figured you guys would all want to hear what I'm looking forward to, so now it's also here on Piecing It Together. Go check out LA Podfidential, great podcast. Go subscribe, give them some listeners some support. But I hope you enjoy today's episode. Before we get to it, I do want to remind you, as always, to make sure you're subscribed to Piecing It Together wherever you listen to podcasts. We've got a lot of episodes on the way, plus I'm sure we'll be covering a lot of the movies we talk about today on this most anticipated list. And also, you can follow us on social media at Piecing Pod, and don't forget to join our Facebook group, Popcorn and Puzzle Pieces. So with that said, let's get to this conversation about our most anticipated movies of 2025.
Welcome back to a very special episode of LA Podfidential. My name is Chauncey Telese, and I wrote out the first place in the NFC West LA Rams for LAFBnetwork.com, and it's a fantastic website. And we are, of course, brought to you by our good friends at Underdog Fantasy. Get it the $100 match on your first deposit. That's right, a free $200 to bet for the holiday season. From our friends at Underdog Fantasy, use code LAPOD or LAPOD. All right, it's our special biannual tradition, unlike any other. I'm joined by David Rosen of the Piecing It Together podcast to preview our most anticipated movies of 2025. David, how you doing?
I am great, and of course, as always, I'm looking forward to another great year of movies. Movie of years. It is late, isn't it?
I mean, next year is a movie of years because it's all the post-strike movies. So we have a huge fire hose of content coming out next year.
Yeah,
in the good way. A lot of good stuff. I was like, wow, that's right. That's coming out next year, isn't it? Oh yeah, that's coming out next year, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, as I was making my list, like it was a lot of stuff that like we knew was on the way, but then there's a lot of like just random, like, oh wow, okay, that's coming. But then a lot of stuff we've kind of like heard is in the pipeline, but there's no dates on yet, and so that kind of threw a little bit of a wrench into it. But like you said, there's going to be so many movies as we get into the year.
Mm-hmm. And within the next 2 weeks, because you got the Sonic Mufasa weekend, and then you have the Nosferatu Christmas weekend, so you're going to get a bunch of trailers for a lot of the stuff we're talking about today.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. So, without further ado, what is your number 5?
Number 5. I feel like it's impossible to make one of these lists if there's an Avatar coming out without having Avatar on the list, because James Cameron took, 16 years or something between the first one and the second one, and now it's just a couple of years. And so I'm very excited to find out with Avatar Fire and Ash, which comes out December 19th. What does that look like? Because we now know what it looks like after the big, long, insane, jokey wait. But we don't know what it looks like for it to be just a couple of years between Avatars. So I'm very excited to see what that is going to be like and how the story opens up now that we've gotten that big, long wait out of the way, and we can just enjoy a new Avatar movie and see what it actually, if it's good.
Yep, that's going to show up on my list later, but I will say I'm intrigued and never bet against James Cameron, ever.
Damn right.
We get a hostile tribe of Na'vi this time.
Probably.
No, that's what he said. It's like, this is they're not the nice ones. Like, not all Na'vi are nice. I'm like, ooh, okay.
There is fire, so
mm-hmm. I mean, the way water was incredible. Like,
oh yeah,
I can't wait to put the glasses back on and go back into Pandora. Like, I don't doubt James Cameron for a second.
100%.
And I will be seeing it. I will be seeing it by myself. I already know.
Me too, actually.
I just got the look. I'm like, yep, I'm seeing it by myself. It's fine. No, my number 5 is actually a movie we're getting a trailer for tomorrow. It's Superman Legacy, James Gunn's Superman Legacy. They had the teaser this morning, and it looked, I'm like, okay, we're checking all the boxes. This looks promising. And I'm a fan of the Creature Commando show he has on Max right now, which is like the first entry in his new refurbished DC universe. So, and all that stuff's going to kind of mesh, and I'm curious how. And the looks of Superman, I'm very intrigued. And he said it's not going to be like his other stuff where it's very soundtrack based; it's very score based.
Mm-hmm.
So this will be a different spin for Gunn because everyone's expecting it to be like a Suicide Squad movie, but it's not. He said he's going full Donner.
Yeah, and I think that's crazy for people to expect him to just like lean right back into his kind of shtick. Like, of course he's going to like It's called Superman Legacy. It's going to honor the legacy of Superman. I mean, come on. But, I will say, this isn't on my list. I'm not a big superhero guy.
I know.
And
I had to throw one in there.
Yeah, that's fair. And I mean, certainly, I think you'd be crazy to not be curious about it, at least.
And he said, like, a lot of the stuff's interesting. Like, it already takes place in a world where superheroes exist. Everyone's seen Superman before, so it's not an origin story. There's a bunch of other DC characters in there, like Hawkman and stuff like that too. So it's going to be a very world-based movie. And he said it's going to be very grounded. Superman or Lois and Clark already know each other. Like they're yada-yadaing all the origin stuff, which is also very helpful. And he said it's meaningful to him because his dad is a huge Superman person.
Nice.
I'm curious how that's going to look, but I'm very curious. We'll get the full look tomorrow. But right now, I'm just from the little shots, like, okay, he's definitely got something cooking here.
Absolutely.
What's your number 4?
So I don't usually get myself excited for just random horror movies that I don't know that much about.
Sure.
But it has been a great year for horror. So, I mean, I'm sure it'll continue. And when you've got Al Pacino and Dan Stevens going up against each other, my interest is piqued. And that is The Ritual, which will be out on April 18th.
I forgot about this.
I don't know really anything about it. I don't know the director, David Medell, what else he's done. I took a quick look and I didn't recognize anything. And I just don't know anything about this movie. All I know is that with those two actors who are both known for going big, in a movie that looks, the poster is fantastic. I don't know if you've seen the poster.
Yes, I've seen the poster.
Really great poster. And so it kind of looks exorcism-ish. I'm not really sure, but those two going up against each other in that kind of movie, I just can't wait.
I think I remember the logline. It is kind of an old priest, young priest movie.
Yeah.
I do know that. It's something like that, but it's not like The Exorcist.
Right, right.
Dan Stevens is awesome. He was great in Abigail this year. He was a lot of fun in that. He's one of those actors that's a lot of fun, even though you don't really see him that often or as often as you'd think.
Yeah.
And I'm very curious how that's going to work. I want to see the teaser for this already.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Mine is also a horror movie, actually. It's Ryan Coogler's Sinners with Michael B. Jordan, which comes out in March. We saw a brief teaser of it, I think, during the summer, and they didn't really give much away. It's supposed to be a vampire-type movie, but I don't know what kind of vampire. Like, Michael B. Jordan, I think, goes back to his hometown, this rural hometown. I think he also plays his twin brother, if I'm not mistaken.
Maybe, yeah. It's hard to tell, but what's going on exactly?
They're really keeping it under wraps, but they did say it's going to be a vampire movie. It takes place in like the 1930s, like it's Depression era-ish.
Mm-hmm. Sounds about right, maybe.
And it's going to be an IMAX, so Coogler definitely has something going there. And everyone's like, "Oh, thank God he's not doing any more Black Panther movies." Which, spoiler alert, he's not. He's doing a third one with Denzel. Yeah, but which is very cool. Yeah, but I want to see what he and Michael B. Jordan do with a totally original horror movie.
Totally. And I mean, isn't this exactly what we want out of like people who start with small indies, then get gobbled up by the Marvel or, superhero machine, and then getting that check to go and make another original idea, except for it's a bigger one. I mean, this is what we want for these guys,
Well, he was one of the last ones too, because he had Creed in the middle, which is like a mid-sized, it is an IP, but it's like it's still it's a well done. Yeah, it's still but well done, but it's like a mid-sized studio movie. Then he gets the two Black Panther movies, which are as big a budget as you can get, and then this looks like a smaller scale movie, but well shot. Like it could be not quite his Nope, but like something on that level. Where IMAX camera, there's going to be a rural area, so a lot of sweeping vistas, I can imagine. And I'm sure it's going to be gnarly because it's rated R.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm hoping to do a live show on this one. I think it's going to be a fun one with a crowd.
Oh, yeah. I have a feeling it will be. And we'll probably get a trailer for it. But I probably with Nosferatu, like that would just make that would make sense. They usually try to theme that up, because I'm pretty sure you'll get one for Wolfman too, because I think it's also Universal. So Nosferatu of Wolfman and maybe Sinners.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
What's your number 3?
Number 3 is Megan 2.0.
I didn't have this on my list, but shout out to friend of the show, Kayla Cooper, for this one.
Yeah, absolutely. Kayla Cooper, we trust that she's got something cooked up here that's going to be crazy. I know there's rumors that it's going to be kind of Terminator 2 style, where Megan, has to kind of go against a more evil version, that comes out. That's what the rumors say. I don't know if there's any truth to that, but I would love that if that's the truth. whatever it is, I just can't wait to see. Even though the first one is very much like a lightning in a bottle situation, it's going to be very hard to top it in any way. But I'm hopeful because the first one was just so much fun.
The first one was so much fun, and I tried to ask her about it. Like she and I went to a Rams game earlier this year, and she wouldn't say anything. I'm like, okay. She's like, you just wait. She's like, I can't say anything, but you just wait. I'm like, okay. And I didn't know about the T2 aspect of it. Okay, I'm even more. And as you can see in my background, I have a T2 poster.
It's one of the best movies of all time. I mean, come on.
It sure is. And if you're gonna use a sequel as a template, that's the one to go for, man. Like,
yeah.
If that's true, I cannot wait.
Yeah, I'm so excited.
My number 3 is a movie we've been waiting to see for a very, very long time. I think I may have even had it on my long list last year when we thought it was still coming out in 2024. But that's Bong Joon-ho's Mickey 17.
Yeah. Yeah, I kept it off my list specifically because we've talked about it, I think, on 2 of these already. So,
but now we've seen a trailer.
Yeah, I know. Now it's really coming.
When we last talked, we were still like, well, we still have the one production still that's lived since 2022.
Yeah,
because there was a one brief teaser that played before the Batman in 2022, and then we saw nothing except the one still Pattinson in the box. We're like, okay, well, what's this? And we finally got a trailer for it in like August, September time, and like, oh, this is not what I was expecting it to be. Right. And this looks nuts. And Pattinson's doing a voice, which he likes to do voices, underrated voice guy.
Yeah.
And it looks nuts. And Ruffalo looks like he's having fun in it. Toni Collette looks like she's having fun in it. I'm very curious how this is going to go. And Warner Brothers has no faith in this, but I can imagine this winding up being like, not a hit, but like something that plays really well and gets memed to death.
Yeah, I think so too. And by the way, this has been delayed again. It's coming out in, I think, April now. Yeah.
It was supposed to be January because we're like, wow, January is going to be an embarrassment of riches quietly. Like, it's like Den of Thieves 2, Wolfman, Mickey 17, and there was something else. But now, they punted it to April because Warner Brothers sucks.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Like, I don't know what they're doing. I know they have a lot of cool stuff next year. It's the we're taking care of our artists. Please buy us somebody. And then I imagine they'll abandon that quickly if stuff doesn't go well. Like the PTA movie was supposed to be on my list. I know it doesn't have a title or a log line, but it does just have the release date in Leo. But that's why I kept that off my list.
Yeah, same here. That would probably be number 1 for me, honestly.
I just need to know more.
Yeah, we're all waiting for that.
I trust everybody involved, but like at the same time, I'd also just like to call it something that's not the untitled PTA movie.
Yeah. Absolutely. I can't wait. And yeah, of course, I can't wait for Mickey 17 still. Hopefully we're going to, hopefully it's going to really come out. We'll see what happens.
They have to at some point.
Yeah.
And I love Robert Pattinson's Porky Pig voice that he's doing for one of the Mickeys.
He's the best. He's so great.
Mm-hmm. And that's another one using their capital to make cool things happen.
Yeah. Yeah, totally.
All right, wow, you're already on your number 2.
Number 2. So this is one that I'm really interested in. It is the untitled, as of now, Trey Parker, Matt Stone, Kendrick Lamar film.
Same thing. I didn't have a title, so I'm like, I know it's supposed to come out July 4th weekend.
That's the reason why I still kept it, is because it does have a date, so we know that, in theory, it should for sure be coming out then. And we know, a general log line of this is that it's about a Black Civil War reenactment actor who finds out that his girlfriend's family owned slaves, his family's ancestors, and it sounds absolutely ridiculous. It sounds like perfectly in line with the Trey Parker, Matt Stone kind of sense of humor, but then getting Kendrick Lamar involved with all this. And more than anything, like, I haven't watched South Park in years. I really, around the Trump era, kind of fell out of it. But, like, I used to love them so much. And I just rewatched Team America this year, and for the first time in years. And it's so funny. And the Book of Mormon is so funny. And I think this is the first non-South Park thing they've done since Book of Mormon, if I'm not mistaken. And I just can't wait to see.
I think so. I mean, technically, the only non-South Park thing either one of them have done since in like 10 years was Trey Parker doing Despicable Me 3, but that was right. Yeah. And even then, he's used okay in that. Like, it's one of those. So because I remember seeing the previews for that, and I was like, "Oh, Trey Parker's how'd they get Trey? Like, he doesn't need to do this."
Right.
Like, I don't understand. I'm like, "Oh, okay, he's just doing. I know the voice he's doing. That's fine." But yeah, since they're doing the three of them are collaborating on songs, and say what you want about latter day South Park, but the songs are always their songwriting skills are on fire.
Amazing.
Always.
Yeah, always.
Like Team America's got great songs. I mean, South Park, the movie is one of the greatest musicals of all time.
Yeah,
like
100%.
just all the songs are just bars. And adding Kendrick to the mix, who's who had himself one heck of a 2024,
yeah,
and he's going to be doing the Super Bowl halftime show. So maybe if I'm CBS, which was who was airing the Super Bowl, that's maybe where you get a teaser for that.
Oh, that's a good point. That's very possible.
Mm-hmm. Like I'm always looking for the synergy. Like CBS has it this year, so I can definitely imagine sometime around halftime. That's when that trailer, like a first teaser, would drop because it just makes too much sense.
Yeah,
and the premise is very much in their wheelhouse.
Definitely. So yeah, I'm very hopeful for it.
Yeah, and we're getting big studio comedies again, and we have the Yorma Tacone Naked Gun remake too from Paramount.
That's an honorable mention for me. Yeah, I don't know what to expect, but I'm hopeful. Let's put it that way.
I know. I'm like, cool. I just want big studio comedies again because we've not. That's the one thing that hasn't quite recovered in the last 5 years.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a great pick. I almost put that on mine, but I'm like, I did because I'd even forgotten the logline because that's not even on like IMDb or any other sites I looked at, and there's no title. So I'm like, well, this is still, I guess, happening. But I'm glad you put it on your list. I'm super excited for that.
I'm glad you're liking my picks because my number one is terrible, but you'll see soon. So,
oh, I sincerely doubt that. I also will say I hope if the songs are good enough that the three of them get an Oscar and Matt and Trey can get their EGOT.
Finally, yeah,
and it's crazy. I never thought they'd make a movie again. Actually,
right. Yeah,
after Team America, they were like soured on making movies.
Yeah, there was like a rumor they wanted to make a giant monster movie that would like look like an old Toho, like the Godzilla stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But it just never kind of came about, and probably because they hated making movies so much at that time.
Yeah, there was like because I've seen the Team America like the special features, and then that comes up a lot. It's like, we just hate making movies. We're just glad that we don't really work with any actors.
Yeah,
like, or we have a limited number of people like we'll work with, but like it's and that's why they make South Park the way they do too.
Yeah, totally.
All right, my number 2 is a half cheat. It's one movie that's coming out this year, but its companion is also coming out. That just Netflix hasn't said when. But it's Maggie Gyllenhaal's Bride.
Oh yeah,
or modern day Bride of Frankenstein movie, and then dovetail to that is Guillermo del Toro's more classical Frankenstein movie.
Okay.
Which I just find that insane that we have 2 big budget Netflix Frankenstein movies, but I'm always in for that. Guillermo always shows up on my list at some point.
yeah, for sure.
Like it's an annual tradition. It just happens. He just happens to have one. But Maggie Gyllenhaal is also very intriguing to me. I really like her as a director. Lost Daughter was pretty solid, and she's been doing. I think she directed an episode or 2 of The Deuce. Like she's really getting into that aspect of her career, and I'm all for it.
100%. Yeah, this is also an honorable mention for me. And I mean, I'm excited for the Guillermo del Toro Frankenstein also, but especially The Bride. I think that this just sounds like it's going to be a really fresh and exciting take. And I'm excited to see what she does after The Lost Daughter.
Yeah. Bale's the lead, and then you have Jenny Berlin, Jessie Buckley, who she worked with in Lost Daughter, Annette Bening, Penelope Cruz, Julianne Hough, and I don't know how she got Peter Sarsgaard, but Peter Sarsgaard's in it.
Yeah, how did that happen?
And then Del Toro also has a really interesting cast, and that's more going to be. I think it's going to be more in the Coppola's Bram Stoker's Dracula version of things. And him doing monsters. Sign me up, please. Always,
absolutely.
All right, what is your number 1?
My number 1 is a sequel to a movie that not many people liked, but I loved. And it is Mortal Kombat 2, which will be out October 24th.
Yeah, I did not like this movie.
Yeah, nobody did. But here's the thing. If you play the games and play specifically the story mode on the games,
There's a story mode now?
There was a story mode ever since.
I'm old.
Ever since. When did that come out? I want to say like 2014, maybe. Ever since whatever that Mortal Kombat was, they've had these really cinematic story modes where it's like a total like cartoon, basically, like story, and then all of a sudden someone challenges someone to a fight, and then you fight. And this movie from 2021 was a perfect adaptation of that story mode. It was cheesy, it was goofy, it was completely insane, it was dumb as hell, but it was so much fun. And then of course it's just super gory, and that I think even people who didn't like 2021's Mortal Kombat at least appreciated the fatalities were actually gory, unlike the the classic 93 movie. And 95. Yeah, but so, and I know the big complaint that most people had is, where's the tournament? Where's the tournament? And I didn't care about the tournament, but I'm sure we'll get it in this one,
You are.
Yeah, it's going to happen. And so at least those people will be okay with it this time. Hopefully there's a little less Cole Young, especially now that we're getting Carl Urban in as Johnny Cage.
I was going to say, Carl Urban, I just remember, I'm like, that's right, Carl Urban is Johnny Cage. Which, okay, I'll say this, that's good casting.
Yeah, it is.
That works. That definitely works. For me, my complaint, I mean, I did want the tournament because the fights are fun. That's what you go for. And that's what the 95 movie, Say What You Want, does get right.
Oh, yeah, it's great. The fighting in that movie is so much fun.
But I also am like, they really did some characters dirty. Like Goro, they wasted, which bums me out. Liu Kang, I'm like, why is he here? Like Liu Kang, Kung Lao is just kind of does get to do some cool stuff, and then
I love Kung Lao in it. He was great.
I'm like, that's at least nice, because in the 95 and 97 movies, you don't get him.
Yeah,
so that was cool. But like, they kind of shot their wad at some characters. They like do nothing with Liu Kang, which I was surprised at, because that's like your main dude. And then I'm like, I don't like Scorpion being a hero. That's just weird.
I didn't mind that. I love Cabal.
It didn't occur to me that that's what they were doing too.
Yeah. No, it was weird, because like there's definitely different like eras of the game and like where the different characters stand and everything. But
Cabal wasn't it?
What's that?
I was like, Cabal was in the 2021, wasn't he?
Oh, he was so great. And Kano, of course, Kano was a maniac in the movie. So much, so stupid. Yeah, well, it's childish ridiculousness. I just rewatched Bad Boys 2 this morning. It's the most fun, stupid movie in the world, and I think that these Mortal Kombat movies come from that kind of point of view of making a movie.
And well, Bad Boys 2 is uncut Michael Bay. Like that, if you were to cut him open, like that's what Bad Boys 2 would be the way he bleeds. Like that's him at his extreme id. With Mortal Kombat, the thing that bummed me out is like, okay, we're going to give you the tournament in the sequel. Like, well, okay, it's like one of those long seasons of TV where it's like actually the whole first season is just one long pilot for the show you really want. And that's what kind of bummed me out. I'm like, okay, like,
but I wanted this stuff, so that's why I loved it so much. The
only thing it worked for was the Twisted Metal show, because like at least the Twisted Metal show builds the world out really well and it's really fun. And then the season 2 is like, now we're going to have the Twisted Metal tournament. Like, okay, cool. Like we can now. I see what you're doing.
I'm glad I didn't watch that.
Oh, it's such a fun show. No, it's like really. No, I promise you, I was skeptical because I love that game, and it actually works, because all the side quests they go on are really fun, and they bring in a lot of like people here and there. Like, okay, we have to go to this town. Here's some bad people, and like, oh, Jason Mantzoukas is a cult leader. This is great.
Oh, that is great. Yeah.
And the little nods to the game are fun, and then there is a mystery element, but it doesn't overwhelm it. And then season 2 is like, okay, yeah, well, here's the thing we were really building towards: we're going to build this huge tournament. And like, okay, now I'm in for this.
Yeah,
it's worth your time, because it's like I think it's 8 episodes, and if they fly by, and it's very Guardians of the Galaxy influenced.
Okay, yeah, I think I could tell that from the trailer.
Yeah, like Anthony Mackie's car is like, he's like the old case of CDs. Yeah, and I'm like, he's got with like mixes. I'm like, okay, this is great. Like it's got a great tone.
Nice.
I want Mortal Kombat 2 to be good. If we're getting all tournament all the time, yay. And then my number one was Avatar, but since we talked about that, I'm gonna slide in something else as my number one.
All right,
Predator: Badlands.
Yeah, I mean, I'm very excited to see how they follow up the last one.
Well, I think some of it's going to be from the POV of the Predator itself.
Yeah.
which I'm like, okay, cool, man. And then we're getting the Shogun version, I think, in like next year because they said they shot that too.
Right, two different things coming up. So they are both supposed to be in 2025.
I think so, or
Okay.
one's going to be 25, one's 26.
Cool.
But Prey, I was super surprised by, and it's one of those you're like, damn, if this had been a year later, it would have been in theaters and would have probably done Alien Romulus numbers.
Yeah, no, totally.
Okay, what are some of your honorable mentions? Because I have a few actually.
Yeah, I've got a bunch here. Well, first and foremost, I just wanted to say I just found out today my first live show of 2025 is going to be Den of Thieves Pantera, which
Of course, as it should be.
Yeah, and that is definitely an honorable mention. Whether I was doing a show or not, I cannot wait for that. So, yeah, shout out to Den of Thieves Pantera.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna be
I know. I'm excited for it. I need to see the original one again because it's been a minute. But like, yeah, I'm very much excited for that. I'm like, okay, you got me.
Hell yeah!
Like, this is what Gerard Butler should be doing.
Oh yeah. So a few things that you already mentioned: Mickey 17, The Naked Gun, and The Bride were on my honorable mentions. Then I also have Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning. I can't not have a Mission Impossible movie, even though the last one wasn't as good as the last.
That's my concern. And guess what? It's not going to be the last one.
Yeah, of course. But
you're not gonna. They've already tried once to do like no, this will just be it for Ethan, and then Tom Cruise won't let go. I don't care if he's doing the Inarritu movie. I don't care. He's not going to let it go, especially if the Inarritu movie doesn't do well.
We'll see what happens. I also have The Accountant 2.
Okay.
That could
now
be
we're talking.
Yeah. I also have that horror movie Heart Eyes, which has a pretty damn good trailer. I like that trailer.
It comes out on my birthday, as does Love Hurts, which also made my list.
Nice.
The Ki Kwan used to be an assassin and then has to go back into that world.
Yeah.
That looks fun.
Right.
Oh, Nobody 2 is also next year, which is in that same
Nobody
vein.
2. Yeah, that's right. Nobody 2 almost made my list as well. And then what else? I also have The Day the Earth Blew Up, the Looney Tunes movie.
Mm-hmm.
That should be fun. That should be a lot of fun. And then the last one, I wasn't expecting to like it so much, but I really liked Wicked. So Wicked for good.
I still haven't seen it, even though I wanted to, and I like the musical a lot, but like I just haven't had a chance.
Yeah. No, it was a lot better than I was expecting, and so yeah, hopefully the sequel, I enjoy that too.
Okay, so my honorable mentions, I have Pixar's Elio, which I've been excited for since I saw the teaser, and then I saw the new trailer, and I saw how they kind of retooled it.
Mm-hmm.
It looks fun. I want to see what Pixar can do with an original. They've got their groove back, it seems like.
Sure. In
some respects. Because I'm me, I have to put the Thunderbolts and the Fantastic Four movie on there.
Mm-hmm.
Thunderbolts looks like a lot of fun, and I know I kind of can see what they're doing. I think they might be getting their groove back too, depending on how Captain America: Brave New World does.
Yeah,
but I'm wondering if they can get back to where they won't be where they were in the 2010s, but some form of like, hey, these are events now. We like to go. And they're scaling back the shows too, which has been a big help. Like I know, I like Agatha Along a lot, and they have the Daredevil show in March, but they're really peeling back, the oversaturation, and they're having three big movies with 3 different goals in mind. And I'm really curious how Fantastic Four is going to go because this is kind of their last shot to do it.
Yeah,
and then in the next couple of years, they're going to get more and more X-Men, which is I think what Thunderbolts is really going to be building towards. So I'm excited for that. Plus, the cast looks fun. Let's see. 28 Years Later is on my list.
Mm.
F1, the Joseph Kosinski Formula One movie, Brad Pitt.
Sure, yeah, that could be something.
I'm curious. I mean, Joseph Kosinski's not my favorite, but I'm like, at least he can do Vroom Vroom really well.
Yeah, sure, definitely.
I have 2 more. I have the Conjuring: The Last Rites. I didn't really like The Devil Made Me Do It very much, and the lack of James Wan was noticeable. But I'm like, if they're doing one more, like, all right, I want to see what this is. Hopefully, this is as fun as the Wan movies. So that's why it was only an honorable mention because I don't trust the director.
Yeah.
Let's see. I had something else here. Hold on. I'm just going through the calendar to make sure I didn't miss anybody.
Mm-hmm.
Shoot. Oh, because you took the Matt and Trey movie. I thought about the Jurassic World Rebirth. I'm like, nope, you can't. You're not going to burn me again. You can't make me.
Well, let's be fair. They're going to burn all of us again, but I'm going to keep showing up, and they're going to keep being terrible. You know?
I know. I'm like, I already know I'm going to see this, but I don't want to admit that I'm going to be seeing this. So no.
Yeah.
Oh,
what about the Running Man?
Oh, yeah, Edgar Wright's Running Man. I'm like, I'm in, but like, I want to see what it looks like first because I love Edgar Wright, but you know, he's been a real. I am an idea guy lately. Like the execution hasn't been quite there. So I want to see what it looks like first. My last one was Wolfman. Lee Winnell's Wolfman. I love Lee Winnell a lot. I almost called him Lee Winnell. Jesus, Lee Winnell.
Popping a wheelie and L.
Well, Upgrade was my favorite movie of 2018. It was one of those I didn't see it coming, and I'm like, oh wow, this guy has got it. And then of course, The Invisible Man was awesome.
Yeah,
like he's really good in that lane, and you know he's filling the James Wan hole in my soul because they're boys. So like he was his first AD and a producer and his writing partner for a long time, and he's become a really great director in his own right, especially with like genre movies. Yeah, and the Wolfman looks sick.
I hope so. I love the cast and I love him. I don't love the trailer honestly, but I have every hope that it's going to be great. I do think it will be awesome.
Yeah, I trust the infrastructure on that because like Invisible Man, you can be like, well, I don't know what this is going to be. Then you're like, oh, okay, this is way different than I thought it was going to be, and holy shit, like just the one scene in the restaurant, I'm like, okay, this guy's got it.
Yeah,
I mean, then everything an upgrade.
Yeah, totally.
All right. Anything you wish to plug?
You can find Piecing It Together wherever you listen to podcasts, and follow me on social media at PiecingPod. I'm also putting out a new compilation album of a whole bunch of songs that were unfinished for a while that I have now finished, and they didn't fit on other albums. So it's going to be like a whole album of extra songs, basically.
Ooh, B-sides.
Exactly. If this was still the 90s or something, I would literally be calling it a B-sides collection, but I can't do that because that would be that would be fake. But but it is what it is. It's totally a B-sides collection. So I'm super excited about that. And working on another Pups album, so that'll be coming to 2025. So yeah.
Man, you got a busy 2025 and you're kicking things off with Den of Thieves, which I appreciate. Yeah. God, I need to get to Vegas to do one of your live shows. Like those just seem so fun. Like, and then if you don't listen to David's show, you should. I mean, tell them the premise of your show.
Yeah, I'm piecing it together. What we do is I have a guest on and we talk about a movie through the lens of what other movies might have inspired it. So each new movie is a chance to look back at other films with similar themes or ideas or filmmaking styles or just any kind of connections we can make. And it's been a fun show I've been doing for over 6 years now. Chauncey's been on a bunch of times. He's overdue for a return visit, honestly.
I know. I need to see movies. That's my problem. I haven't been to a theater. The last movie I saw in theaters was Conclave back in October.
That was a great movie, though.
I've hit it. I know that was one of those I didn't expect it to be as much fun as it was, and I'm so happy. It made me so happy.
Yeah, absolutely. So,
all right, David, you have yourself a wonderful holiday and a happy New Year. Yes, and I eagerly await your live show and eagerly await being on your show on Piecing It Together again.
All right, so I hope you enjoyed that conversation about some of the most anticipated movies of 2025 with Chauncey Telese, reposted from his podcast, LA Podfidential. Go check out LA Podfidential wherever you listen to Piecing It Together, and make sure you're subscribed to all of our podcasts. We are independent podcasters. We could use the support, so make sure to do that. Maybe drop a 5-star rating and review while you're at it. That also helps to make sure that more people check out the show. You can follow me on social media at PiecingPod. You can also join our Facebook group, Popcorn and Puzzle Pieces. Also, as I mentioned during the conversation, our first live show of 2025 will be Den of Thieves, Pantera. That will be on Thursday, January 9th. I can't quite put out the full details yet at the time of this recording, but they will be up very soon, and there'll be an Enter to Win contest to get some tickets going. So keep an eye out for that, as well as a couple more live shows that I've got confirmed. So more live shows on the way, which is I'm really excited about because we've been able to do them all through 2024, and I want to keep doing them through 2025. So keep an eye out for sure. So I am going to close this episode out with a piece of music like I always do. And I mentioned it during the plug section of Chauncey's show. And I also mentioned it on the last episode of Piecing It Together. But other things to look forward to in 2025, aside from movies, I'm sure there'll be another The Pup Pups album too. But we'll talk about that at another time. I've got 2 albums coming out in 2025. So the next full length, like regular David Rosen album will be out at the end of the year. And I'll talk about that more later in a few months once I start like really gearing up the promotion for that. I got some awesome music videos on the way from that album, and it's going to be amazing. It's maybe my favorite album I've ever made. But first, I've got this crazy project. So first of all, it's called Missing Pieces 2018 to 2024. And the idea behind this album is if you remember in 2024, I did something called 24 for 2024, where instead of putting out a new album, what I did is I went through all of my unfinished folders and I found 24 songs that like sounded like great ideas, songs that like would fit on albums, but they just never got finished for whatever reason, or they just didn't fit for whatever reason. And I went back into each song, finished them to where I felt like they were perfect. And instead of releasing it as an album, I released them as singles, 24 singles in 2024. So my thought was, well, maybe at the beginning of January, I will compile them all onto a compilation album, maybe add like 4 bonus tracks or something. You know, like greatest hits albums sometimes have some bonus, new songs. And so I went back through those folders to see what else felt like viable songs that I could, also finish up. And I found 16 more songs. So what you're getting in January, including those 24 from 2024, is 40 new songs that will all be on a big, huge compilation album, and that will be hitting at the end of January. And so keep an eye out for that. I'll be announcing a lot more about it over the coming weeks. But I'm going to play a song from that right now called Golden Arrows. I hope you enjoy this track. Keep an eye out for Missing Pieces, the album, and we'll be back with more Piecing It Together real soon.
An All Points West production, produced by David Rosen in Las Vegas.